everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. My name is Melva Peterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Tuesday night, and I jump on Tuesday night with a sketch challenge for you. So I have what I think is a fun sketch, and I'm playing with yet another of my new products from the annual catalog. This time I'm playing with Season of Chic is the stamp set. I guess that's probably the bundle too. So it's just an amazing one. I really love this one when I saw it, and it's for all seasons. So it's got seashells and flowers and snowflakes and leaves. So you can make this for whatever season you want it. But I kind of think they maybe not the snowflakes, but the other ones all kind of go together. So hey Lynette, hey Darlene, glad you could join. So I thought I'd play with that tonight, and some of the other new products. I've got the designer series paper and some of the, I think it's called, it's distressed gold specialty paper. So I'm going to play with that as well. All right, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. All right, first let's show you the sketch. So this is the sketch. It's kind of a cool sketch. The card base is 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11, whichever you prefer. Layer number 1, which is kind of this yellowy orangey color, is 4 inches by 5.25. Layer number 2, which is the blue, is 3 inches by 4 inches. Layer number 3 are these two pieces. They're the same size that are about a 1.25 inch square. And then the sentiment piece is in the middle, which is 1.5 by 2.5, roughly. You can kind of change it up as you want, but that's the sizes. This will post, hey Tracy, this will post on my Facebook group, Facebook page, and Instagram about 7:30 Pacific tonight. So you'll be able to follow along with the sketch if you didn't get those measurements. All right, so let's show you this. This is the season of chic. Couple of things to know. This is a photopolymer stamp set, which is really cool. So it makes it easy to see. 17 different stamps. So when I opened it, it actually comes in 2 packages because there are 17. And as always on the photopolymer ones, it has the images so you can adhere your stamps once you've used them onto the image and know exactly where they go. It's 2-step stamping, so there are 2 different stamps for each. And the other thing to note is these images are 75% of the size. So these are much smaller than the actual images that you stamp. So things to note. So the sentiment is much bigger than it actually shows on the front. Hey, Nancy. All right, and then the dies. You will have dies to cut out the images you stamp, but you have all these extra dies that you can cut outline pieces to, like you can do 2-step stamping, you can kind of also do the 2-step die cutting where you can cut out the solid, in this case seashell, and then cut out the detailed one to layer over top. And then this is my absolute favorite die, cuts out just a nice piece for your card that you can use as a background and just add some texture. All right, and as I said, it was called Season of Chic for a reason. It's got the leaves, the snowflakes, seashells, flowers. So every season is taken care of with this. All right, here's my supplies. So I'm using Evening Evergreen. Grab my paper trimmer. So Evening Evergreen, and I've got a piece that's 4.25 by 11. So I'm going to score it at 5.5. Put that away. All right, and as always, this is the side I score on. Grab my bone folder. Oops. So side I scored on. So turn it over. This is the raised line or the mountain. So fold into the mountain and use your bone folder to get a good burnish. Okay, so there's my card base. You could do it 5.5 by 8.5 if you want. Now, this is some of the really pretty textured chic. Oh, no, it's called Season of Chic. Actually, I don't know. I want to say Tray Chic, and I know that's not right. Texture Chic might be what it's called. Anyway, this is some of the designer series paper. Really pretty colors. Soft Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Petal Pink, and I think it might be Calypso Coral, but I'm not positive. And then on the other side, I think kind of into the Pool Parties and Petal Pink and the gold. So it's a specialty paper. It's hard to know which one to use, but for this one, because I'm using the Evening Evergreen, I'm going to put adhesive onto this really pretty colored back with the Petal Pink and adhere it down quickly before I change my mind. Isn't this pretty? Oh gosh, this Soft Succulent paper. All right. I hadn't necessarily thought of Soft Succulent and Petal Pink together, but it's quite pretty. There's not a ton of it on here, and it's lots of other colors, so it blends it in. All right, now I've gone ahead and cut some pieces out. So I went ahead and used that great die and cut out of the Distressed Gold specialty paper a piece of this. And this is going to be my center. So this is the piece that I've said cut 3 inches by 4 inches. This might be a little bit, I might have cheated a little bit. So it's a little bit shorter, but it is about 3 inches wide. So it's a little bit shorter than what I told you to cut, but I'm kind of following the theme of the challenge. Now, one thing to note, and I should have done this, you probably want to use some of your some of the adhesive sheets for this, because now I'm going to have to try and very gently put some adhesive on this so it sticks down. So adhesive sheets probably are the way to go with this. And I should have thought about that, but I'm trying very carefully to just get a little bit of adhesive on the bits so that it doesn't fold up or roll up on the edges, crease. It is like a designer series paper, so it is fairly thin. So there we go. Okay, I managed to get it glued down without it splodging out all over the place. Now, I also went ahead and cut so these are my pieces that on my sketch are the 1 1/4 inch piece here and here. So you could use 2 different. In this case, I'm using 2 the same. And I have gone ahead and cut. Kind of have to figure out where they go. Let's see. I'm sure. Hang on. There we go. Kind of have to see 3-dimensionally. So those are what I'm going to put. Now, I've managed to keep the center in. So I am going to take a mini dimensional, if I can find my mini dimensionals. Find a package of mini dimensionals. Here they are. And my take your pick tool. So I'm going to take one of these mini dimensionals and put right in the middle here, right over top of that center so that it doesn't come out. And then we'll kind of attach this like that. And the same on this one. Not sure how I actually managed that one, but if you don't lose that center, you could just use adhesive. So the same, you could use the adhesive sheets on these as well. I actually didn't realize when I went to cut this out that it was going to cut kind of this outline that is not kind of a full outline, if that makes sense. I thought it was going to be a solid circle and that's all I was going to use. But when I saw the shape it was, I decided that that's what I was going to do. Okay, and then I've got a piece. This is my sentiment piece that I have cut out of Soft Succulent that is 1 1/2 by 2 1/2. Oh, I've got adhesive on here now. All right, and I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I'm going to stamp this, and of course I don't have, or if I have, I can't find. Oh yes, there it is. I do have an embossing buddy here. If I can get it out from underneath everything. I'm just going to take my embossing buddy. You can make your own embossing buddy if you don't have one. I'm hoping Stampin' Up! Will bring them back, but just take some, get a couple, a pair of baby socks from the dollar store, fill them with put the two together, and one inside the other, and then fill them with cornstarch and sew it, and you will have an embossing buddy. So I'm going to stamp this with the sentiment that says, wishing you the best birthday ever. And I'm going to stamp that in the middle. Oof, not so good in the middle, but that's okay. And I have my embossing powder. Now I keep my embossing powder in a container like this and then use a spoon, just because if I don't, I get it all over the place. I get it all over the place anyway, you can see. Melva. All this powder that I managed to get. Ugh. There we go. Ugh. All right, I'm going to bring in my heat tool, so this might get a little loud, so apologize for that. So we will just try. What you want to do is just hold your piece down. Don't burn your fingers. So I'm going to just grab my paper snips and hold it down. You could use your take your pick tool and hold it in one spot until it starts to melt. And once it starts to melt, you can then move your heat tool around until you start to see all of the powder change from this matte finish to this shiny gold finish. And once it starts to do that, the magic goes very quickly. So it is done like that. So hopefully that wasn't too loud, too long. Hey, Nancy, welcome. All right, so there is my heat embossed sentiment, but I've got some space around here. So let's do some, there is an image in here that I noticed that is kind of like, I'm sure this is for us the center of something. It's two-step stamping, but it's got some spots on it. So let's do some stamping with Versamark. Have you ever done this before? So stamping on a piece of cardstock with Versamark is like stamping using kind of a stamped off. So you get, and let me do it some more, and then I will show you. So you get kind of tone on tone. So you can see I've stamped here, and it's similar to me using soft succulent on this, but you get the tone on tone the same as if I had stamped this with soft succulent. And since I didn't have soft succulent, this works just as well. So if you've never tried stamping using Versamark, it works very well. Now let's pop this up. Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I haven't played with this. This is my first time playing with this set, this bundle, or this product suite. But it is so pretty. So if you've signed up for my virtual launch on, when is it? May 28th. I partner with Diane Evans, another demonstrator in Canada, and she is going to be making some fabulous cards using this suite. So I know she'll do amazing things with this. So if you're coming to the launch, you will see Diane's cards. And maybe I'll show this one. All right, now my sketch has these kind of overlapping my sentiment. And so I'm just going to see, I want to put it like that. I'm trying to get the dimensionals not so they're not stacked on top of my sentiment, which already has dimensionals on it. So there we go. Like that. Now, if I had thought about this, I would have grabbed needs some gold or something ribbon, but I didn't. What I grabbed are these solid faceted gems. These are also new in the new catalog, and they are in, well, it doesn't have the colors on them, but balmy blue. That almost looks like It says I think it's Night of Navy, but almost looks like Starry Sky. Blushing Bride, Melon Mambo. I think that's Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. And I know it's Evening Evergreen. Actually, it might be Mossy Meadow now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, I think it's Mossy Meadow, but I think I can get away with it. So I'm going to use some Soft Succulent ones. So we'll just put some Soft Succulent on like that. But I'm going to put one of these little ones in what I think are Mossy Meadow, but when there isn't that many, I think it's fine, and it doesn't look too out of place. There, what a pretty card. Okay, I also grabbed a piece of basic white cardstock, and I was going to do some stamping on the inside of my card. So this is two-step stamping. And what I want to do is just grab a scrap piece of cardstock. So here's some basic white. I want to do I'm going to stamp off. So this is the two-step stamping. So I want this to be quite light. Yeah. So I think if I'll stamp off once, and then I'm just going to put this there. So it's quite light. And then I've got the background image, and I'm going to stamp that in full strength. Now, I just have to figure out how it lines up. There we go. So I just keep turning it around until I get it close enough to be lining up. And so now I've got my dark outline. So it isn't a solid flower, but it's got a dark outline around it now. So I love what I consider to be eclectic stamp sets or eclectic bundles. And this is one of those that is I find it quite eclectic, with the combination of the leaves and the flowers and the seashells and then the snowflakes. I know it's, representing all the seasons, but I find it quite eclectic in that you could combine all of those things. Now, I also grabbed this piece, which I forgot to put on. So let's take and put this piece of designer series paper on as well. This was just a little scrap from when I trimmed my designer series paper to fit. And so I don't like to have these go to waste. So I put them on the inside of I got a splodge of glue. All right. Put them on the inside of your card. And now my inside is finished. There. So let me bring my sketch back in just to show you. I had a lady from, I think, the UK who liked me always to put my sketch beside it so she could see. If I think about this a little bit, I probably would put maybe an extra layer of Evening Evergreen behind my sentiment. I think it would make my sentiment pop a little bit, but it isn't quite popping. So you could always do that just if you've got a sentiment. I don't often stamp on cardstock for my sentiment. Usually I'm using basic white or very vanilla for my cardstock or for my sentiment. But tonight I just felt like if I had basic white in the middle of my card, it was just going to be too much. And so that's why I decided to do the embossing. But I think that having a layer of Evening Evergreen behind it would have just made that sentiment pop. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. I had fun making it, and I definitely can't wait to make some more from this suite. So you can join me on Thursday night at 6:30. I will be back. It'll be technique. A technique, what do I call it? Time for technique. And so I will have a technique for you. I'm going to pull out the new masking paper that is in the annual catalog. And I know I've done masking before. I love to do masking. And so, but I'm going to show you the new masking paper and see how that goes, because I think it's going to be amazing. And gone are the days that I have to do masking with Post-it notes. Because that's painful. So I'm excited about the new masking paper. So join me on Thursday night at 6:30 Pacific to see it and a card that I will have for you. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Oh, I wanted to do one reminder. Diane and I have a class scheduled for June 11th. It's a techniques class, 5 cards, 5 techniques. It includes masking. And so if you're interested in that, registration closes on Tuesday. Unfortunately, if you're not in Canada and you'd like to join, we're doing it through Zoom. We do have an option that you can join us for the class. You will get the PDF and the Zoom class, but we can't supply you with the make and take kit or the stamp set. It is the Bouquet of Thanks stamp set. So if you're interested in that, just reach out. The information is on my Facebook group and page. But if you do live in Canada and are interested in participating, the cost is $55 and it includes everything you need to make the 5 cards, as well as the PDF instructions afterwards. So registration closes on Saturday. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.